everybody. I hope you all are well. So, welcome to the new year, and hope that it brings me good news. But we are seeing that it's not so good news as of late. Okay, so as you know that the subject that we were talking about is our power system performance. Okay, now when we're talking about power system performance, means the other half, there are two parts of this power system performance actually. So if you have gone through the syllabus, so there are two parts. So I'm just sharing the a window where you can see what is the syllabus and yes. So as you can see, this is the syllabus actually. Okay, power system performance. I hope it is visible. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this per unit presentation of power system, as you see, this per unit representation of power system, this will be in the other half. I will be only concentrating ourselves to the second half uh, of this particular syllabus. Okay, so my portion will start from this portion. Okay, basic concept of active and reactive power, control of synchronous generator, interdependence of active power with frequency, reactive power with voltage, and concept of decoupling, speed governing system. What is a speed governor? It's very important. Load frequency control. How we are going about with our load frequency control. Then we're talking about our this system inertia, and if time permits, we'll also be talking about the surface area system of load frequency control, supplementary control, concept of control area, and the this multi-area load frequency control and concept of tie line control. I will be just touching it. I will not be going to the details of it. Okay, and we'll also be talking about the various types of our excitations. There is the reactive power control. Okay, so role of excitation system, main and pi excitors, description of different types of excitations. This portion will be in my portion as well as the power system stability portion. Okay, so these two portions will be covered by me. Okay, so I have just divided this portion in such a way that will be first part we're talking about what is the meaning of the power system, means why we are studying this power system performance, what is the function of the power system we'll be talking about, which we'll be talking about in today's class only. In the second class, we're talking about the basics of synchronous generators. So I hope you know all know that there are basically two types of synchronous generators. Okay, so the how we are using those type of is how we are using those type of synchronous generators for our generation as well as load frequency control. We'll be studying that how we can draw the block diagram of a simple generator. We'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about in the last we'll be talking about the power system stability, and the last we're talking about the excitation of the alternators. Okay, or so in this way we have broken down the syllabus. Okay, so from this basically this is the outcomes that you will be able to gain. So basically our portion is the first one, that is CO1 and CO4. In my portion, that is part 1 of this power system performance class. We will only consider CO1 and CO4. Okay, CO1 again per unit representation not. We will concern about the power flow and voltage control of a transmission system, and the load frequency control and the power sensitivity as we will be going on. Okay, I hope how will be going on in this particular subject, that is clear to you all. Okay, second, the books. Okay, so please remember the books that I'll be following. For the first portions, that is the basics of synchronous generators, and the first portions, that is why the voltage will be constant, why the system frequency varies, and to the control of to the control area. Okay, means the concept of the control area and the load frequency will be following the book of Elgard. Okay, so electric energy system theory, Elgard. That's the name of the book. Okay, and that is more than enough. You can go for the other books also, but I would not recommend the other books. This is the it has been written in a very lucid way in this particular book. Okay, you can go through this book, and the ebook of that is also available actually. Okay, and for the stability portion will be and the stability and the expression portion will be going through our ASPAC Hussain Power System Analysis book. Okay, from that, the stability chapter, power system stability chapter, will be going through that portion from our ASPAC Hussain power system analysis book. Okay, so let us start the presentation, and I will be just switching off my video. Only the audio will be there. Okay, and I will be sharing my whole screen. If you are able to see it, just tell me. And okay, and shall I record this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I will record in the session also. So I would request that many things are just given in the slide, but I will be speaking uh, about those points. So it would be better to just take out your notebooks and just write down the points. Okay, as we go through the class. Okay, so let's start the class. Let me stop this presentation and open the other one. Let's start the recording first. The recording has started. Let the recordings go on. And yes. Okay, so this is I hope the whole screen is visible. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so again somebody is trying to enter. Yes. Okay. So as you can see, that for power system for performance, the first part that we have to get ourselves accustomed with is what is the function of the power system. Okay. So when we talk about the function of the power system, we can say that the function of the power system is to supply good quality power to the consumers at cheap rate in such a way that the security of the system is maintained. Okay. So as you can see in this definition, again, this is a very generic definition. This you will not be founding in you will not found it in any book. Okay, just to understand what is the function of the power system, I have written it in this way. Okay, so from this definition what we can say that the function of the power system is to supply good quality power to the consumers at cheap rate in such a way that the security of the system is maintained. So as you can see in this particular definition, three aspects are very important. So number one is the quality of supply. The second is our cheap rate, and third is the security of the system. So let us talk about these aspects one by one. What do you mean by this quality of supply? So whenever we are talking about quality of supply, the question comes that how will we measure the quality of supply? So the answer is that the quality of supply is measured by means of by what we can measure. We can measure the supply by voltage, okay, by frequency, by waveform, wave distortion, and the quantity of supply or the reliability. So whenever we are talking about the voltage aspect, so basically what we know that the voltage has to be maintained within a range of how many percentage? It has to be maintained within a range of
2 to 5%.
Not, that's the frequency actually. Okay.
Sir, 0.505 pu up down.
Okay, the voltage magnitude to be is maintained within means we can allow for a range of around plus minus 10%. Okay, of the corresponding nominal value at each network bus bar. Please remember this one. Okay, voltage magnitude to be maintained within a range of plus minus 10% of the corresponding nominal value at each network bus bar. What about frequency? This has to be maintained within a very, very narrow limit. Okay, previously it was around plus minus 3% of its nominal value, the frequency, but nowadays the frequency is maintained within a very narrow band of 49.9 to 50.05 hertz. Okay, I'm again repeating. Nowadays the frequency is maintained within a very narrow range of 49.9 hertz to 50.05 hertz. Okay, previously plus minus percent of the nominal range was allowed for frequency, but nowadays the frequency has been tightened more. Okay, third we have what we have our wave distortion. Okay. So when we are talking about wave distortion, what we can understand that we are trying to say whether the voltage and the current wave shapes are sinusoidal or they are having distortion. So we know that the generation voltage and hence the current will always be having a sinusoidal voltage due to why they will always be having sinusoidal voltage. It is due to the design aspect of the alternator, correct? Due to the design aspect of the alternator, generation of voltage and hence the current will always be sinusoidal. But their harmonics may be introduced in the system. So harmonics are introduced by what type of devices? They are introduced by non-linear loads. So what are the non-linear loads? Obviously, all these power electronic converters, power electronic control devices, our HVDC systems, which is again a power electronics, which is again dependent upon a power electronic device. All these cater to the harmonics that are introduced into the system. Okay, so because of those non-linear loads, harmonics may be generated in the system, and due to which the waveform may be distorted. Okay, and that will obviously be affecting the production process and so on. Fourth is our quantity of supply. When we mean the quantity of supply, obviously we are talking about the reliability. That is, whether the supply is meeting the desired level of reliability. Okay, means যখনই আমার supply দরকার, that supply is always available or not. That can be provided by the fourth point, that is quantity of supply. Okay, I hope it is clear. I hope the 4 points are clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the next in line, as you can see, what we are talking about, we are talking about the supplying power at a cheap rate. Okay, so on what factors does supplying power at a cheap rate depends upon? The factors on which the supplying power at a cheap rate depends: number one is our optimum design, second one is our economic generation, and third one is our efficient operation. Now, what do you mean by optimum design? We mean by optimum design mean that we are talking about the optimum design of the whole network, starting from the power plant design to the conductor reaching our homes. Okay, we are talking about whole these things known as our, means when we're talking about the design aspect, we cover everything starting from the power plant design to the conductor, means what should be the size and what type of conductor we should be using when that conductor is reaching our homes. Okay, so all these things has to be taken into the design aspect. So that is why the first point is optimum design. Second is economic generation. Now, when we're talking about economic generation, remember that operating the system for any load condition, the contribution from each plant and from each unit within a plant must be determined so that the cost of delivered power is a minimum. Okay, I'm again repeating, in operating the system for any load condition, the contribution from each plant and from each unit within a plant must be determined so that the cost of delivered power is a minimum. Okay, আশা করি তোমরা জানো যে আমরা যখন একটা 400 মেগাওয়াট বা 1200 মেগাওয়াটের আমরা প্ল্যান্টের কথা বলি, আমরা বেসিক্যালি দেয়ার আর মেনি units within that particular plant, correct? So whenever we're talking about a 400 megawatt plant, there may be 200 megawatt plants inside plant. Okay, so those particular units are known as our units. Okay, so those units together constitute a power plant. So that's why we are saying, in operating the system for any load condition, the contribution from each plant and from each unit within a plant must be determined so that the cost of the delivered power is a minimum. Okay, third point what we have our efficient operation. Now, what we are talking about efficient operation, we know that for a power system to return a profit on the capital that it is investing, proper operation is very essential, correct? So the rates of the power that is reaching us, that is fixed by our regulatory bodies. Okay, and these power plants has also to take into account the importance of the conservation of fossil fuels. Okay, so these rates fixed by regulatory bodies and the importance of conservation of fossil fuels place extreme pressure on power companies to achieve maximum efficiency of operation. Moreover, to they have to improve the efficiency continuously. Okay, so to improve the efficiency continually uh, in order to maintain a reasonable relation between cost of a kilowatt hour to a consumer and the cost to the company of delivering a kilowatt hour in the face of constantly rising price for fuel, labor, supplies and maintenance has to be taken into account by the power plant company. Okay, so when we're talking about efficient operation, all these factors has to be taken into account when we want that the power plant operates efficiently. Okay, so what we know that uh, that whatever power plant is placed, uh, they always uh, think that they should be earning a profit. No, but the situation or the circumstances can lead to such a way that they are always going for losses. So if that is the case, then the efficiency of that particular power plant will also be hampered. Okay, is there any question still now? Okay. If not, we are going to the third point. So the first point was our, what it was? It was our quality of power. Then we had supply at cheap rate. And the third point is the system security. Now, when we're talking about the system security, this basically means it is the ability of the system to withstand unplanned disturbances. Suppose a fault has occurred in one of the unit. A fault has occurred in a transmission line. Uh, Somehow a transmission line has just been removed from the bus bar. Okay, means from the system. All these things are totally unplanned. So because of that, the system has to react in such a way so that the overall system does not get compromised. Okay, so if it gets compromised, what can happen? We have experienced that, correct? Have we experienced that? That if the system gets compromised, what can happen? We had two blackouts, no, in our country. Okay, so those were very good examples of those unplanned disturbances. Means what unplanned disturbances can do to the power system. Means we the whole system stability was lost, and due to which the whole country had to face blackout for consecutive 2 days on 30th and 31st of July, I think, of 2011 or 12. Okay, so we can very well imagine that why the system security has to be maintained, and the obviously we'll be studying as we go through this class that how the system security or basically the system stability can be maintained for a particular power system. Okay, so next point that we are talking about, that is why frequency control is necessary. Okay, so there should be one slide. I think we have must. Yes, let us talk about this one. Then we're talking about why system frequency is necessary. Okay. So as you can see, the first of all, why the question comes that why frequency changes. Okay. So the answer is very simple. The answer is actually it is due to the unbalance between the active power generation and the active power demand. Okay. This is the very simple answer. Then why system frequency varies? System frequency varies because of the unbalance between the active power generation and the active power demand. So how can we explain it through this particular example? Let us see. So in figure A, let the figure alongside. So this figure be our figure A, this one be our figure B. Okay. So in figure A, T in is the input torque to the generator. T1 is the output torque of this generator. And as you can see from this figure A, only the impedance Z1 is connected to this bus bar. Okay. So since the impedance Z1 is connected to this bus bar, so what we can say that T in is equal to T1. Okay. T in is equal to T1. Okay. Now keeping T in constant, let us go to figure number B now. Keeping T in constant, if the impedance Z2 is also connected to this particular bus bar, then what will happen? So we can say, since this synchronous generator has means it has to cater load now both to Z1 and Z2. So the torque, the output torque of this synchronous generator increases. Okay, but T in is remaining constant. So as the input torque is fixed, this additional energy demand, okay, this additional energy demand is supplied from where? It is supplied from the rotational inertia of the generator. Okay, this additional energy demand is supplied from the rotational inertia of the generator, due to which what will happen? The speed of the rotor in figure B would decrease. So if the speed of the rotor decreases, that means the frequency will also decrease. So what we can say, that the frequency of this particular bus bar, that is F2, would be less than our F1. Okay, so we can say that there is an unbalance between the active power generation and the active power demand. We can think of it in this way also, that suppose, let us think that what is the simplest electrical power system? So the simplest electrical power system would be what? Would be a single electric generator and a load. Correct. Now, this electric generator is converting the rotational kinetic energy to the electrical energy. Okay. So the law of energy conservation requires that at any instant, the power demanded by the load is supplied by the generator or by the energy stored within the system. Okay, I'm again repeating. The law of energy conservation requires that at any instant, the power demanded by the load is supplied by the generator and or by energy stored within the system. Okay, so if the consumption in the load increases, the extra energy demand is initially supplied by the rotational inertia of the generator, due to which there would be a decrease in speed of the generator rotor. Now, we know that the speed and the frequency are related. Correct? What is the equation? What is the equation? Correct. Okay, n equal to 120 f by p. So basically from this expression, we know that the speed and the frequency is related. So if the frequency of the voltage is decreases, that means the speed will also be decreased. Okay. So as we know that, and vice versa. So if we say vice versa means, so if the speed decreases, the frequency will also be decreasing. Okay. Now think of it in this way, that an electrical power system actually consists of thousands of such interconnected generators and loads, and they all behave like a simple one generator, one load system, with the frequency being the same for the whole interconnected system. Okay. So কিন্তু সেখানে কিন্তু কখনো একটা পারফেক্ট ইকুইলিব্রিয়াম হচ্ছে না between the generation and the demand in a power system, because we do not know that at one time which load will be getting switched on. Okay, so what will happen, that the demand will be following the load. Okay, so there will never be a perfect equilibrium between the generation and demand in a power system. Now, since the amount of storage that we're talking about, that is limited in a power system when compared to the load demand, so the frequencies will always be shifting as a result of the imbalances between the active power generation and the active power demand. So what will happen, that when the demand exceeds the supply, frequency টা কি করবে, increase করবে না decrease করবে?
Decrease করে।
Decrease করবে।
Decrease করবে।
Okay, correct. So when the demand will be more than the supply, frequency will decrease. When the supply is more than the demand, then the frequency will increase. Okay, that's why, because of this also, we are seeing, we have drawn the load curve, no, in our second year power supply systems classes. So we have seen that the load curve is not a constant, rather it is changing as the it is changing with time, because the frequency is also varying with time. Okay, so one thing we can understand from here, from this discussion, is that frequency is one of the main variable responsible for the stability of an electrical system. So there are several reasons why it is desirable to keep the frequency in a power system within a narrow band. Okay, so why it is necessary? Number one point কি বলছে দেখো, that the speed of consumers plant changes with the, okay, let us talk about this one first. Okay, that is the synchronous operation of the generators. So the synchronous generators operate in synchronization with each other, correct? So for proper synchronous operation, it is desirable that the system frequency be kept constant. Okay, second কি বলছে দেখো, second হচ্ছে we can say that the speed of consumers plant changes with the supply frequency, and so the production process gets hampered. Yes, most of the loads that we talk about in our AC power system are what type of loads? Are motor loads. Okay, so the speed of the AC motor varies as the supply frequency varies. So if the frequency is varied, then the quantity and the efficiency of the production process will be getting hampered. তো আমরা বাড়িতে একটা ওয়াশিং মেশিন ইউজ করছি, ফ্রিকোয়েন্সি যদি লো থাকে তাহলে ওয়াশিং মেশিনের পাম্পটাও কিন্তু খুব জোরে ঘুরতে পারবে না। তাহলে খুব জোরে যদি না ঘোরে তাহলে ও কি ঠিকভাবে ওয়াশ করতে পারবে? The answer is no. So that is what we are saying, that the speed of the consumer's plant changes with the supply frequency, because of which the production process gets hampered. Third point কি বলছে, that the active power consumption of a load depends upon the supply frequency. Why we are saying so? Because again we are saying so because as most of the loads are motor loads in a power system, these loads have an inherent tendency to draw or to consume more active power if the supply frequency increases, and vice versa. Okay, so supply frequency যদি ইনক্রিজ করে, এই মোটরগুলো inherent tendency কি হবে? They will be consuming more active power from the system. Okay, so so what we can say, so that's why the frequency control is very necessary, or we can we can say it in other way around, that that's why the frequency has to be kept within a very narrow bound. এছাড়াও একটা fourth point আছে, I am not written it this way. Okay, you can think of it in this way. There is also a fourth point, that in traditional power stations the performance of the generator is dependent on the performance of the auxiliary electric motor drives, তাই তো? So এই auxiliary electric motor drives গুলো কি করছে? These auxiliary electric motor drives deliver fuel and air to the boiler, oil to the bearings, and cooling services to the several systems. So if these auxiliaries underperform due to low speed caused by low frequency, the power station output can be reduced. And this phenomena would lead to a cascading situation where we have to shut down the power stations and there will be blackouts. Okay, so you can just add this fourth point also along with this definition, that why frequency control is necessary. Now second point, obviously again, that why the system voltage has to be controlled. Now we know that like frequency, voltage is the other variable which guarantees the stability of an electrical system. So manufacturers of all electrical appliances design the products to operate with a certain nominal voltage in order to achieve effective performance, and they also comply with the safety standards. So why system voltage has to be kept constant, we can explain it in this way. Okay, that power apparatus are designed to operate at declared voltage, so efficiency and safety of the equipments are hampered if proper voltage is not maintained. This point I think is very much easily, it can be explainable. Okay, second point, what we have motor loads. So what are motor loads? Motor loads are constant power loads. Okay, these are constant power loads. So what happens is they are constant power loads, so this motor loads takes more current at reduced voltage. They takes more current at reduced voltage, due to which they are causing increased voltage drop and thus aggravating the voltage condition further, and thus aggravating the voltage condition further. And we can also add one point, and also increases the buildup of the heat within the motor. Okay, so because of this reason again voltage has to be kept constant, কারণ voltage কারণ যে যে লোড গুলো ইউজ করছে সব কনস্ট্যান্ট পাওয়ার লোড, সো কনস্ট্যান্ট পাওয়ার লোড মানে যদি রিডিউস ভোল্টেজ হয় তাহলে কারেন্ট ড্রনটা বেড়ে যাবে, কারেন্ট ড্রনটা যদি বেড়ে যায় তাহলে সিস্টেমে ইনহেরেন্টলি তাহলে কি হবে, দে উইল বি ইনক্রিজ ভোল্টেজ ড্রপ। আর তাহলে আমার যে ভোল্টেজ লো ভোল্টেজের যে কন্ডিশনটা আছে সেটা আরো অ্যাগ্রাভেট হচ্ছে, কারণ আমার ভোল্টেজ ড্রপটা সিস্টেমে আমার বেড়ে যাচ্ছে, এবং যেহেতু মোটরটা এক্সেস অ্যামাউন্ট অফ কারেন্ট ড্র করছে তার জন্য কিন্তু মোটরের মধ্যে হিটের বিল্ড আপ হতে পারে। ওকে, এছাড়াও what we can do is that we can add a third point to this also. What is the third point? We can think of it in this way, that a higher than nominal voltage also leads to overcurrents. Okay, a higher than nominal voltage also leads to overcurrents. How it is possible? Let us see that when we are applying high voltage to a motor, then high voltage motor tends to push the magnetic portion of the motor into saturation. Okay, so when the magnetic portion of the motor is pushed into the saturation, this causes the motor to draw excessive current in an effort to magnetize the iron beyond the point to which it can easily be magnetized. Okay, so because of this also what we are seeing that
can you repeat this part, sir?
Yes, I'm again repeating. A higher than nominal voltage যখন আমরা বলছি, a high voltage to a motor tends to push the magnetic portion of the motor into saturation. ঠিক? So this causes the motor to draw excessive current in an effort to magnetize the iron beyond the point to which it can easily be magnetized. মানে যেই পয়েন্ট অবধি ও খুব ইজিলি ম্যাগনেটাইজ হতে পারতো,
মানে সেম যে ফ্লাক্সটা প্রোডিউস করার জন্য অনেকটা যে কারেন্ট টানবে যেহেতু যে স্যাচুরেশন অ্যাচিভ করে গেছে।
ওকে, ওভারফ্লাক্সিং সিচুয়েশন হচ্ছে, তার মানে কি মোর অ্যামাউন্ট ও কারেন্ট ড্র করতে শুরু করছে, সেটাও কিন্তু একটা ভেরি মানে ইট উইল কজ দ্য মোটর টু the life of the motor to decrease. Correct? So apart from this, the fourth point আমরা একটা আমরা include করতে পারি, that because of these points we can add another point, that why the system voltage has to be controlled, because the life of the insulation also decreases with the increase of the voltage. So আমরা যদি ভোল্টেজটা যদি আনকন্ট্রোল অবস্থা থাকে, ভোল্টেজ বাড়তে থাকে, তাহলে the insulation covering the equipment, the life of the insulation also decreases with increase of the voltage. So why the system voltage has to be kept constant, I think that is also clear to you. Okay, now before we go into the frequency control and the voltage control, preliminary we have got an idea that why the voltage control is necessary and why the frequency control is necessary. Now what we were trying to understand, that in a high voltage transmission system, we say that the active power is strongly coupled with the load angle or the transmission angle, not the transmission angle, with the load angle, also known as the torque angle, and the reactive power is strongly coupled with the voltage. Okay, let us see how we can actually achieve this theory. Okay. Yes, so reactive power unbalance is the cause of our voltage problem. So how we can understand this? Let us see this one. So what we have here a typical high voltage transmission system. Okay, so what we know that the transmission, this from V1 to V2, this is a transmission line. এইটার আমরা impedance ধরতে পারি কি, we can take the impedance to be R plus jx. Okay, so when we're talking about R plus jx, please remember that when we're saying R plus jx, that in a high voltage transmission line, the x by r ratio is very high. Okay, so in the sense we can actually neglect the resistance in a transmission line. So can anybody say that why the x by r ratio is very high in a transmission line? Yes, why the x by r ratio is very high in a transmission line? And
sir, to reduce the losses, sir.
Why? Why
Sir,
that?
because it's more inductive, sir,
It is
and
not.
less of resistance for losses to minimize the losses.
That's a very generic answer, actually. Okay. Think of it in this way. You have done the power system planning and design. No, what is the equation of the inductance? L is equal to how much? L is equal to 2 into 10 to the power minus 7 ln d by r prime. Correct? Where d is the distance between the conductors and r prime is the effective radius. Now, as we know that in a high voltage system, the distance between the conductors is very high. Correct? So the inductive value would be high. So our x value would be high. Okay. So because of this, we can actually neglect the value of the resistance. Okay. So I hope it is clear. Okay. So from this knowledge, what we can write? We can write that P plus JQ equal to V1 into I conjugate. Why V1 into I conjugate? P plus JQ equal to V1 into I conjugate. Why I conjugate? Again, that is the convention. Okay.
So because the complex power is V into I conjugate.
Yes, why V into I conjugate? Why V into I conjugate? Why not V conjugate I?
It is the
inductive power positive.
Correct. The convention is that the inductive power is positive. Okay.
It's positive.
Okay, please remember this. Very simple questions, but these questions can be asked in a grand viva. So please be very careful. So P plus JQ equal to V1 into I conjugate. Okay. So from this, what we can write? We can write V2 equal to, actually, from this expression, we can write V2 equal to V1 into I into Z. So as you can see that in this Z, we have neglected the value of R. We have only taken the reactance value X. Okay. And we can write I equal to how much then? I conjugate equal to P plus JQ by V1. So I would be equal to P plus JQ by V1 with V1 taken as a reference. So what we can write from this expression, that V2 is equal to how much? We can write V1 minus Q by V1x minus J P by V1x. So we can easily draw the phasor diagram here. Okay. So the angle between V1 and V2, this angle is denoted by the term delta. Is also known as our load angle or the torque angle. Okay. So as you can see that a change in this P, okay, a change in this P, that is, what is P? P is the active power, Q is the reactive power, correct? So in the so a change in the active power affects the perpendicular component. Okay, it affects the perpendicular component of the voltage drop, but it has but the change in active power demand has little effect on the magnitude of our V2. Okay, on the magnitude of our V2, but it directly affects the load angle. Okay, similarly, a change in the reactive power affects the in-phase component of the voltage drop. Okay, a change in the reactive power affects the in-phase component of the voltage drop. So what we can say that the change in this voltage magnitude is mainly caused by the reactive power. Okay, it is mainly caused by the reactive power. So what we can infer from this particular diagram also, we can say that P and delta are strongly coupled and Q and V are strongly coupled. That means the active power flow through the lines can be changed. Active power flow through the lines can be changed by controlling the voltage phase angles. Okay. So P and delta have a strong coupling, and reactive power flow can be changed by controlling the voltage magnitudes. Okay. Reactive power flow can be changed by controlling the voltage magnitudes. So Q and V have a strong coupling. Okay. It is clear till now?
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
So please remember that the coupling between the active power and the voltage and the reactive power and the delta are weak. They are not totally decoupled. They are coupled, but the effect of the voltage on the active power or the reactive power on the delta would not be such as to speak of. Okay, so that's why we are saying that the coupling between V and Q and delta are weak, and this knowledge, that is P and delta have a strong coupling, Q and V have a strong coupling, this feature is extensively used for power system control and analysis, as we'll be seeing on later. Okay. So from this analysis, what we can infer is that we can just think about the frequency control in this way. We can think that, okay, we have, yes. So we can think that the active power generation has to be controlled for controlling the frequency. Okay. So how this frequency is dependent upon delta, we'll be talking about later on. Okay. Just think about it in this way. Since active power, if we vary delta, then active power variation occurs, means there will be unbalance between the active power generation and the active power demand. So if there is unbalance between active power generation and active power demand, that means what is varying? The frequency is varying. Similarly, for controlling system voltage, the reactive power flow has to be controlled. Okay. So for frequency control can be done from power plants only, whereas since voltage can be controlled through the use of reactive power, so voltage control can be done from power stations and transmission as well as distribution substations. So it is possible to transmit active power over long distances, but since reactive power depends upon the voltage, so reactive power cannot be transported, rather it has to be generated locally. And that's why we use these shunt reactors, shunt capacitors, and so on. Okay. So what is the use of this shunt reactor? We have studied that in our power system planning and design. What is the use of shunt reactor? We can control the Ferranti effect. No? Yes? What is Ferranti effect? The secondary voltage would be
greater than said primary voltage in a long transmission
line. Or we can say that the receiving end voltage of the transmission line would be much higher than the primary
than the sending in case of no load.
Okay.
Generally in low
load conditions. So
yes.
So we can think
no load
that
or very low load.
Yes.
No load.
Okay. So because of which, what we can think that that there is more amount of reactive power in the system in the receiving end side. So if we connect a shunt reactor to it, what will happen? The reactor will absorb that extra energy in the that extra voltage in the system by extra power in the system, so that the voltage comes down to its nominal value. Correct? Because if the voltage increases, then at the receiving end, then the bus bar insulation, all those things would be heavily taxed by the increased voltage. Okay, understood? So from this knowledge, what we can think of this in this way, that the frequency control can occur in this way. So just think about a sheet of paper, and we have just drawn the loads here, L1, L2, L3, and this is the generation G1, G2, G3. And the sheet of paper is actually at the nominal frequency, that is our 50 Hz range. So if the load is more, or the active power demand is more than the active power generation, then the frequency would decrease. If the active power generation is more than the active power demand, then the frequency would increase. Similarly, we can think about the reactive power also. Okay, that if the reactive power means we can think about the reactive power also, that it is at the nominal voltage. So if the reactive power generation is more than the reactive power demand, then the voltage will increase. If the reactive power generation is less than the reactive power demand, then the voltage would decrease. If you just remember this, you can very well understand how the frequency and the voltage control can take place. A simple example is also given here. Suppose here we have a voltage at the receiving end sent. Okay, so a motor load is connected. A huge, a large induction motor is connected. So if the induction motor starts, what will happen? It will draw a huge amount of power from this particular bus bar. Okay, so the voltage at the receiving end side may decrease. So the voltage, so the loads connected, so the other loads connected to this receiving end bus bar would be suffering because of the low voltage. So that's why we require a switched capacitor bank. Okay, that will be providing the extra VAR into the system so that the voltage can be improved. Okay, And similarly, the shunt reactor case also, as we have just studied here. I hope it is clear. Okay. So please remember that these synchronous generators are very integral part of the power system. Okay. So suppose we can think of it in this way, that if the synchronous generator is connected to a load, okay, is connected to a load and through a transmission line, and a fault has occurred in the transmission line, and suppose the fault is not cleared, then what will happen? Then the synchronous generator will continue supplying more power, due to which its means the synchronous generator will supply continue more power to that fault point, due to which what will happen, that its speed will increase. Okay, so the speed governor of that particular synchronous generator will not be able to control the speed, and so the frequency of the system may increase, due to which it may lose synchronism with other generators connected to the power system, and hence we can say that the system stability is lost. Okay, so what we can say, that this stability, this voltage and frequency are the three aspects which control the operation of the synchronous generators. Now, before we go into synchronous generators, we'll be ending this class with the knowledge of our infinite bus. Anybody, what is infinite bus? Anybody? Is
a bus which have constant frequency and can deliver in infinite number of power.
Okay, yes. So it, not only constant frequency, it is also constant
The
voltage.
constant voltage.
Okay, so let us think about this way. So I think I have a figure. Yes. So this is how we represent an infinite bus. Okay. As you can see, this is how our infinite bus is represented. So this is an infinite bus. This is the synchronous generator connected to an infinite bus. So this type of system is known as an SMIB system, or a single machine infinite bus system. Okay. We were talking about it later also. So what we can say, so suppose instead of one synchronous generator, we have many synchronous generators. Okay, we have many synchronous generators connected to one particular bus. And again, let us suppose that there are numerous such buses which are connected with each other by these lines of low reactance. Okay. Thus, all the synchronous generators operating in synchronization with each other, and they all together constitute a large power system. Okay. So if we compare the capacity of this 200 megawatt synchronous generator with this large power system, we can see that in comparison, this 200 megawatt generator is negligible compared to this large power system. So the capacity of this large power system, or we can say the capacity of the system being large, its voltage and frequency are constant. Okay. So the connection or disconnection of a small machine, of a single machine like this 200 megawatt synchronous generator on such a large power system would not change the magnitude and phase of the voltage as well as the frequency of this large power system. Similarly, we can say that this large power system, this large system is independent of the power exchange between the synchronous generator and the system, and independent of the excitation of this synchronous generator. Okay, so the capacity of this system being infinite, this is termed as an infinite bus. So what are the characteristics of an infinite bus? It is a constant voltage, constant frequency, infinite inertia, and having zero internal impedance. Okay, and how it is represented? It is represented by this figure. I'm again repeating, this is known as a SMIB system, that is a single machine infinite bus system, where a single synchronous generator is connected to an infinite bus. So from the next class, we'll be talking about synchronous generators, and we'll be trying to analyze them, that how the active power and the reactive power is varied. We'll be taking the example that that the particular synchronous generator is connected to an infinite bus. I hope I am clear.
হ্যালো স্যার,
Yes.
স্যার আপনি বললেন যে যখন সিনক্রোনাস মেশিনের কোনো মানে বাসে ফল্ট হয় তখন ওর স্পিডটা হঠাৎ বেড়ে যায়, এটা কেন হয়?
স্পিডটা ফল্ট হলে না, ফল্টটা যদি ক্লিয়ার না হয়, ঠিক আছে, ফল্ট যদি ক্লিয়ার না হয় তাহলে ওর সিগন্যাল জেনারেটর কি করছে, ওই ফল্টকে তো পাওয়ার দিচ্ছে, ঠিক আছে। আমার তো ইনপুটটা তো ফিক্সড আছে, ঠিক আছে।
ওকে স্যার।
হ্যাঁ, তো ও যখন ফল্টে যদি পাওয়ার দিয়ে থাকে তাহলে কি হবে, তার মানে ফল্টে যদি আমি পাওয়ার দিতে থাকি তাহলে আমার মোর অ্যামাউন্ট অফ পাওয়ার দিতে থাকছি, ঠিক আছে। মোর অ্যামাউন্ট অফ পাওয়ার মানে কি, আমার ইনপুটের প্রাইম মুভারটাও খুব জোরে ঘুরতে শুরু করছে এবার, কারণ ওকে তো মোর অ্যামাউন্ট অফ পাওয়ার দিতে হচ্ছে। কি বললাম, দ্যাট দ্য লোড ইজ ফলোড বাই দ্য ইনপুট, তাই তো। তো ফল্ট পয়েন্টটা ক্লিয়ার না হয় তাহলে সবসময় ওখানে তো কি হয়, দ্যাট পয়েন্ট উইল বি অ্যাবজর্বিং মোর অ্যামাউন্ট অফ পাওয়ার। মোর অ্যামাউন্ট অফ পাওয়ার তার মানে কোথা যাবে, ওটা একদম প্রাইম মুভার হয়ে যাবে, ঠিক আছে। তাহলে জেনারেটর স্পিডটা কি ইনক্রিজ করবে কি করবে না?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, ইনক্রিজ করবে।
ইনক্রিজ করবে। এইখানেই গভর্নরের কাজ। গভর্নর কি করবে, ইনপুট যদি ফিক্স থাকে, ইন জেনারেল যেটা হয় ইনপুটটা ফিক্স থাকে, ঠিক আছে। গভর্নরের কি কাজ, যেই না এরকম তুমি দেখতে পাচ্ছ যে লোড চেঞ্জ হয়েছে, ফল্টটা সাপোজ ক্লিয়ার হয়নি, আমার গভর্নর কি করবে, এই ফ্রিকোয়েন্সিটাকে, এই স্পিডটাকে রেগুলেট করার চেষ্টা করবে। সেটা আমরা লোড ফ্রিকোয়েন্সি কন্ট্রোলে দেখবো। ওকে, ফ্রিকোয়েন্সিটাকে বা কি করবে, ও চেক করার চেষ্টা করবে। যখন চেক করার চেষ্টা করবে সেটা ডিপেন্ড করছে, তখনই চেক করতে পারবে যদি তোমার ফল্টটা ক্লিয়ার হয়ে যায়, ঠিক আছে। ফল্ট যদি ক্লিয়ার না হয় গভর্নর কিন্তু আর কন্ট্রোল করতে পারবে না। ওকে
ওকে স্যার।
ঠিক আছে, এনি মোর কোশ্চেনস?
স্যার বলছি একটু ইনার্শিয়া পয়েন্ট বলবেন ইনফাইনাইট বাসের?
হ্যাঁ, আবার বলছি যে when we are talking about this particular system, okay, this large system is independent of the power exchange which is taking place between this small generator and this particular system, okay, as well as it is independent of the excitation that is applied to this particular system, okay. So the capacity of this system, we can say that it is infinite, okay, and that's why we can say that it is having infinite inertia, okay.
ওকে স্যার, ওকে স্যার।
ঠিক আছে, মানে একটা ছোট সিস্টেম এর সাথে একে এফেক্ট করলো কি না, এইটার কিন্তু মানে এর সাথে যুক্ত হলো কি না, না বেরিয়ে গেল, that will not affect this particular system, rather it can affect this system but it will not affect this particular system. একটা সিঙ্গেল জেনারেটর মনে রাখো, কিন্তু অবভিয়াসলি লার্জ অ্যামাউন্ট অফ জেনারেটর যদি একসাথে বেরিয়ে যায় তাহলে বুঝতেই পারছো যে তখন আর ইনফাইনাইট বাস কি সিস্টেমটা থাকবে, তখন আর থাকবে না। ওকে, a single system is okay, we can think of it in this way, okay. ওই জন্য এই যে ছবিটা বারবার বলছি, তাই এই ছবিটাকে আমরা বলে থাকি SMIB সিস্টেম, সিঙ্গেল মেশিন ইনফাইনাইট বাস সিস্টেম, okay. Yes, any more questions? Any more questions? আগে বলে দিচ্ছি এই ক্লাসে কিন্তু অনেকটা থিওরিটিক্যাল বেসড, ম্যাথমেটিক্যাল বেসড, একটু কনসেপচুয়াল ক্লাস। না বুঝতে পারলে প্লিজ আস্ক মি, আই উইল বি হ্যাপি টু again explain it to you, okay. Please remember this. Any more questions? If not, then thank you everybody. We are stopping the class here itself, okay. Thank you. Yes, thank you everybody. You may leave the class. আমরা পরে আবার পরের দিন আরেকটা ক্লাস করব, ঠিক আছে। নেক্সট উইক থেকে আমরা আশা করি আমরা অনেকটা একটু বেশি টাইম নিয়ে শেষ করতে পারলে তাহলে আমরা পুরো সিলেবাসই আমরা শেষ করতে পারবো, ওকে। সো থ্যাংক ইউ এভরিবডি, থ্যাংক ইউ ফর জয়েনিং দ্য ক্লাস।